2, 1. Welcome. This is the first episode of the Jordan Innovation Lab outside, off campus. We will go around and do introductions. This is an experiment, also filming for the first time with this whole process. And we have a bunch of phenomenal Jordan graduates who are all heavily involved in the podcasts and the videos for the Jordan Innovation Lab. And I'm really excited about having them over to my screened-in back porch with the heat. It's like 94 degrees today, but I'm really excited about just talking to them and hearing about their plans for next year. So we'll kind of go around first off with introductions.
Hello, my name is Taylor Knight. Anything else?
That's fine.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Nakia McNeil.
Hello, my name is Naima.
Hey, my name is Isaac Gear.
What's up? My name is Grady.
Good deal. Welcome. Good to have y'all all. So we are not going to be editing this in any way. Typically with our podcast, people would spend hours removing all of the likes, the and everything. So this is high pressure in some ways, but we're just going to have fun with it.
It feels weird that I'm being recorded because whenever I'm on the podcast, I'm like, I just feel like nobody can see me. But
I keep wanting to make like Jim from The Office faces at the camera.
Yeah. So the first thing I want to do is so you're all recent graduates. You graduated. What was your graduation day? What was it?
June 12th.
June the 12th. So a day that for 13 years you had been building up towards. So really quickly, what were your opinions of that day? Did it live up to your expectations? What were you feeling when you were walking across that stage? If anybody wants to just chime in, go ahead.
To be honest, at first, I thought like during the graduation it was going to be all sentimental and emotional, but it felt so rushed because, I mean, they were pretty much speed running our names. So, but afterwards, I mean, you kind of felt the emotions coming towards you because, like, man, like some of these people I won't ever see again for years. Like, I may not. Well, I thought to myself, like, people are here like Naima, Nakia, Grady. Like, I probably may not see you guys for like 10, 15 years on the run, like, oh, Poppy's like, oh, I remember you, and then it'd be like something like that. But I definitely, it was kind of underwhelming, but afterwards is where all the emotions came.
Okay. About the rest of y'all?
It was hot.
Very hot. Yes.
Extremely humid. I, for one, thought like the graduation ceremony itself was nice. I made the mistake of saving my yearbook until after the graduation ceremony. So, like, all the way up until I got home, I was pretty okay. And then I started reading my yearbook and seeing the things that people had wrote, and I was like, okay, now I'm feeling it, you know. And that was interesting. So that made the day like sentimental for me. But like at the graduation, there was just so much going on. It was so fast, so many things to do, so many things to like say goodbye and do that I just didn't really even have the time to savor a lot of what I was feeling. So the day was nice, but it was fast paced for sure.
So it was the day after was really kind of, or the when you got home that kind of hit you. Naima, what about you? Was there like a moment when it kind of like it hit you that you were graduating?
yeah, it's interesting for me because I'm like a very, very nostalgic, sentimental person over like the littlest, the smallest things. So graduation for me has always been like you said, like a big deal for me. And so like the whole day was like really, really like sentimental and special for me because like I kind of made it like a promise that I was going to make it that because I knew I was never going to have this day again. So like Grady, I read all my yearbook things at the beginning of the day. And so I was just like crying and stuff like that because it's just, like I said, like, it's just really weird that I'm just kind of leaving a big part of my life behind and, like, officially, like, I am growing up. Like, I'm not in high school and I'm not doing all those things. I agree with Isaac. The actual ceremony was super rushed and, like, but even then, I was, like, I still was just, like, soaking it all in because I was, like, I'm never going to get this moment again. It was also really cool to see Grady, like, giving a speech and one of my best friends, Caroline. So that made it like also super special because like I just remember like ever from being like so little, I would just like see graduations and I'm like, oh, this looks so like special, and it felt like that. And even though it was like I don't know, like, and I was surprised because I thought, like, it wouldn't end up being exactly as I pictured, which I guess it wasn't exactly as I pictured, but it was still a really important day, and I think I enjoyed it, and I was very emotional the whole day, and, like, as Isaac said as well, when I was seeing people, I was like, I don't know when I'm going to see these people again, so, yeah, it was just super, super special, and it was really nice being with family and seeing my friends, and also I was in the front row because I was first, so I even found myself, like, being just emotional seeing, like, people I've known since elementary school, like seeing that they did it too, and I'm just like, I just felt very, very proud. And for myself as well, since, like, I had went first, I was like there was a lot of moments throughout high school where I had no idea, like, I would get to that moment, so it was really special for me. But yeah.
What about we talk all about getting ready for that big event, but what about the next day? And I'm asking this question because I've always been interested in, like, the Hollywood moment where there's a happy ever after. I've always kind of wanted to know or ask, like, well, what do you think happened to those characters after they fell in love or after they got what they wanted? So the next day, did it feel like a come down, or what did it feel like Nakia, if you remember, like the day or the days after? Did you feel kind of just like exhausted from, like, the emotional build up to that day, or did it feel pretty normal? Like, did it feel right to you?
I think I'm not, like, the best person to ask that question because the day after was actually kind of hectic for me. Like, I had, like, when I pretty much did exactly what Grady did. I waited until after graduation to read the yearbook photos and cry by myself. So I pretty much got all of my, emotions out that night. But afterwards, I've always, for the longest time I can remember, I've always had, like, the attitude of, like, what to do next. What's next? And what was next was actually, I had, like, a doctor's appointment. And I went to the doctor's appointment, and I was having a pretty decent day. I decided to treat myself because, like, hey, I'm a graduate now. I should celebrate. I went to go get ice cream from Bruegger's, and I ended up going over a drain and popping both of my tires on the driver's
This is the day after graduation.
Welcome to adulthood.
Yeah.
It was both my tires and my rims.
Oh my gosh.
It was bad. It was really bad. It was a really sharp drain that was, like, sticking out of the sidewalk.
Oh my god.
And
So if you were feeling full of yourself as a grad, that was taken away from you right then and there.
How did you get to the sidewalk?
no, not this, like, not.
Why are you driving on the sidewalk?
Yeah, I was like, how did you get to the sidewalk? Like, did no one else catch
It was like the curb. The curb on the edge, like, off of Hope Valley Road, there's Woodcroft.
Yeah.
It was right there.
Oh,
the drain, that, yeah.
Were you stranded?
I parked at a little yellow house. There was a school, the little yellow school.
The preschool?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I called my mom, and I was like,
Hey, girl.
Your mom's like, I cannot wait to get Nakia out of this house, away from
I
here.
think I might have, like, seen her, but I didn't know who it was. I was like, dang,
Left
that
her
person-
stranded.
Isaac left her stranded.
You weren't outside the car. I was like, dang, that person messed up the wheels. I'm sorry. You weren't out in the car. I was like, dang, what happened to that person? Then kept on going. Mom, what's up?
So now you know, Isaac. So you have to pay it forward later on
Yeah,
with
I'm
somebody
sorry.
else.
yeah.
Anybody else? So that kind of was a come down a little bit. For anybody, for the rest of you, was it hard, or did you have an emotion or a feeling that you were not expecting, like the day or two after? What was that like for y'all?
I'd say similarly, it was really busy for me too. Like,
But no, like broken rims in your car. Or anything.
no broken rims on my Civic. Broken air conditioning, yeah.
Okay.
But no broken rims. It was a weird kind of fast-paced week. There was a lot going on, some things I just had to get taken care of. And, like, there were people staying in my house for, like, the week leading up to graduation. Because, you know, family came into town, and they left, like, in that next week. So it was nice to finally have my room back and to be able to do things like take a shower in my bathroom and not have to worry about someone random walking in and being like, oh, can I get this? Like, like a random person just coming in off the street and being like, hey, man.
That happens.
Yeah, that happens all the time. Canon event. It was a little bit of like, there was a lot of emotion that I was feeling that I wasn't really taking the time to process, and a lot of big emotions that I was feeling too. So I kind of had to slow down too at the end of that week and just kind of sit in what I was feeling and not just kind of keep pushing it to keep doing a bunch of stuff. Because then if you weren't graduating and someone else had their graduation party, or there were all these things that just needed to happen that took place that week.
Yeah. You want to go? Yeah, go ahead, Taylor.
Sorry. I feel like the day after graduation, I was like a little bit numb to everything going on around me. I don't think I had anything the next day, and I don't remember much happening. But like, it didn't hit me the day of graduation necessarily that like it's over. It's sort of like that feeling of like existential dread and excitement had been like creeping up on me for a long time, so I was already adjusting to it. But like after the big moment, like coming off of that, there was nothing. Like I didn't really feel anything. So I think like I laid around my house all day and yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have an analogy for you, and I want you to tell me whether you feel like this fits. So the analogy is, I've always thought about the stage that y'all are all at now is kind of like you've been working towards the edge of a cliff, and this unknown, and it could be really good unknown, it could be really scary unknown, but you've been working towards graduating, and now whether it's college, and for all 5 of y'all, it's going to be college, but for a lot of your classmates, it's a job, it's, you know, all kinds of different things. And jumping off of that cliff can feel like the most freeing, beautiful thing in the world, or it could also be really, really scary. And I'm curious if that analogy, if that fits the way you're thinking about your next step, or am I being overly dramatic about just how much emotion is involved in what you're about to do? So, Isaac, you know, maybe tackle that first.
Sorry. You're pretty much right about it. I mean, me personally, I mean, it was kind of that, I guess, leaving high school was, you know, fun. You know, I loved it, but you had to go right back into, like, being serious immediately because, you know, opportunities arise for you in college. Like, hey, you got to get this filled out, turn this in, apply for some other scholarships, do this, do that, do this, do that. And it's kind of like, it just stacks on top of you. So it almost feels like you're in school almost with these assignments, because I mean, I know that for my, I guess, ag email, I look at it every day, it's like 15, 20 emails about something random going on at the school.
Yeah, and before we go on, let's make sure that we also say where. So UNCG, A&T, UNC Charlotte, right? A&T, and then College of Charleston. UNCW. Okay, College of Charleston was one of your.
It was.
Okay.
It was between the two.
Okay. Naima, what about you? How does that analogy, like, do you think of it as like jumping towards freedom and excitement, or jumping towards the unknown fear, or is it?
For me, it's definitely like jumping into like a pit of like rocks. I feel like it's like it's definitely very scary. I think like a little bit, as I said earlier, I'm a very nostalgic person, and I also feel like I'm kind of scared of growing up. I feel like I'm very mature, but at the same time I'm like very connected to my childhood, because I think a lot of us can relate that, like, especially our teen years, like, kind of were skipped over a little bit because of the pandemic. So I feel like it almost feels like I was forced to like grow up faster than it kind of felt like I should have been. Like I still haven't even like fully like processed that I'm 18, and like it just feels really weird, because like I think with the pandemic and everything, like it just messed up at least my sense of time and my sense of like growing up and experiencing life, because we spent like 18 months just in your house when we should have been like, I don't know, just experiencing life and growing up. So it's definitely very scary for me. I feel like I can be ready, and I know, like, deep down I know I'll be fine, but it's definitely very, very scary. So yeah, I feel like I'm jumping into a pit of rocks. But I'm also a little bit excited. That's been something I've been feeling a lot more recently. But throughout senior year, I was just like, I don't even know how I'm in senior year yet. Like, this feels weird. But yeah.
What about you, Nakia?
Well, I love analogies. I would add to it, I would say, like, it's like we've been preparing to jump off a cliff with, like, we have to make our own parachute. And like, we're, still got holes in it, trying to patch it up, stuff like that. It's just, like, you gotta move quickly, though. So, like I said, it's like, what's next? It kind of felt like with those emails and all the stuff that we're having to do, like, I'm communicating with my roommate, trying to see if we can get our room decorated as soon as possible so we don't have to worry about that. I feel like, yeah, our teen years were kind of skipped over, so it's...
Does the parachute have holes in it because of COVID? I guess is like, if let's take COVID out of the equation, would the parachute be more complete?
I think it would be more complete, but still not completely.
There'd be holes.
You know, there'd still be
areas.
holes. Yeah, different areas though. I feel like Naima said something about, like, not processing the fact that I'm 18. Like, I've had to sort of trying to get used to not thinking of myself as a kid, and thinking of myself as an adult. It's hard to kind of change that mindset. You got to be, you got to be more responsible. Like, I think I'm sort of responsible, but, like, I gotta really get on it, and that is scary. Changing that mindset, it's hard and scary.
Yeah. The cliff for me was.
Yeah.
The cliff for me was kind of like. I think I felt both emotions. Like, until I got to the point of graduation day, I was really, really nervous. Almost as if graduation day was, like, the gateway to the rest of my life. And that after that day, everything would be so different. But I jumped off the cliff, and not jumping into a pit of rocks. More like you're cliff jumping into, like, water. Like, knowing you're going to be okay, but you still have to get down there.
Swim, so that would
So that's not any better.
Just double homicide. Okay,
Well,
gotcha.
I mean, it's a little better, but, like, not much.
Yeah, like, I'm really excited for what's next. I personally was kind of bored of high school, like, sick of it. It just felt old. Like, I needed something new and dynamic in my life to kind of shake it up. So I'm really excited to experience something different, meet new people, have new experiences, live a new life that's not high school, because I was so bored. So as nervous as I can be, because it's like, hello, like, you're about to go to college. Like, I'm also like, hello, you're about to go to college. Woo! So that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay.
I sort of feel like, adding to the analogy, not necessarily jumping into a pile of rocks or water. I feel like I'm free falling, but maybe at, like, a hang gliding rate. Because going from, like, junior year to senior year and even 8th grade to freshman year, you sort of have an idea of what your day-to-day life is going to look like. And when I think about my day-to-day life at college, like, there's nothing, like, I don't have a visual in my mind of what that's going to be like. So just, trying to decide if I'm scared of the unknown or excited about the unknown has been a little bit exhausting, but for the most part, I feel like I'm excited.
Okay.
What do you mean, like, the decision? You said you're trying to decide if you're scared of the unknown or excited about it. Like, what does that look like for you?
I don't know. Some days I'm filled with existential dread, and some days I feel like I'm filled with existential excitement. So I don't really know. It varies. Yeah.
How comfortable are all of y'all? And as I'm speaking over the sound of these grasshoppers, I guess, that are just like in our crickets in our woods. Yeah. So the perils of recording outside here. Totally lost my train of thought because of that.
You said, how comfortable are you guys with?
Okay, how comfortable are you in this, like, the uncertainty versus, like, the black and white of kind of knowing? I feel like, I guess I'm not asking this very well. Up until now, there's a very clear path. You go to first grade, you go to second grade, you go to middle school, then you go to high school. You pass these certain number of classes. There's all these requirements. And obviously, yeah, you go to college, you do this, you do that. But I feel like there's a certain amount of unknown that's going to be freedom and unknown. Does that make you feel excited? Are you uncomfortable with that? Do you feel like that's the way it has to be, and is that healthy for that unknown? What do y'all think?
I'm ecstatic to go into the unknown. Personally, like, I'm as nervous as I am. Like, it's nervous excitement. Like, I'm excited about the possibilities that are kind of endless. Yeah, like, I feel like I have a idea and a picture of what I do want my life to look like at one point. And then I know, like, there are certain paths that I can take and things that I need to do and not do to make sure that I get there. So it's not like I'm just walking into an abyss, kind of, but I'm really excited to just kind of experience what's out there, see what's new, experience life as it has all to offer to me.
Okay. What do you think, Isaac? How are you feeling? Are you like, not knowing where you're going to be going? Does that make you uncomfortable, or is it something that you're excited about?
Wait, that's a what? Wait,
yeah, that's yeah.
I'm pretty excited about it because I mean I do like kind of not. Well, I do like the unknown because I know that anything could happen, but I feel like I kind of missed the structure of high school, kind of like knowing what I have, and just kind of like. Not even just high school, just kind of being at home, kind of like your parents helping you out. But now it's kind of like, well, if I don't get up at this certain time, I'm going to miss this class. If I don't hear my dad banging on my floorboard, his ceiling, every morning saying I was going to wake up, I mean, that's the difference between me going to breakfast and being able to get to class and me barely making it or not making it to a class at all. Or him saying, hey, Isaac, do your homework. And, I mean, I feel like I guess the unknown is really just not having that structure that I'm so used to having, and me having to make my own structure without the aid of anybody else.
There's a famous psychologist named Carl Jung. I'm not sure if y'all had him in your psychology class or learned about him at all, but he thinks that once you become like 16 or 17, you begin what's called the first stage of your life. And it goes typically from age like 17 to 34 to 36 roughly. And then there's after that, the second stage of your life. And some people never make it to the second stage of your life. The first stage is all about building your container, which is like finding your voice, who you're going to be. And a lot of people never find that, and they have a really hard time. People find that through their job, through their like relationships they have, like where they move to. But I think you kind of have to do it on your own. So as you think about finding your container, the container that you're going to fill up, like your ego. Like, I don't say ego in like a negative way, but ego is like your identity. How are you most planning to do that? Like, what's going to be, like when you think about how to do that, what's going to help? Because you've had school to help do that for you, teach you how to be grow into being an adult. You don't have that anymore. You have to kind of find that for yourself. So what are you going to lean into? I guess is my question. It's a big one, but how do you think you'll do that, Naima?
I think that is a really big question. I would say that I want to agree also with what Grady and Isaac were saying, that like there really are just so many opportunities to just do whatever you want with your life. Obviously they could go in negative ways or positive ways or neutral ways, but I think as far as like finding myself and who I'm going to be as an adult, it seems like just such a big thing that like part of me, like I can't even like really process of like if there's just one way to like find out who I'm gonna be. And the other part of me is like I feel very, very like confident in like knowing myself, and I spent a lot of like my later teen years figuring that out. So I feel like I'm honestly not gonna struggle that much with finding who I am as an adult. I think it's more so gonna be hard to just figure out being an adult rather than being myself as an adult. I think I definitely like know who I am, and I feel like as I'm growing and like figuring out how I fit into the world as an adult, it's just going to be like differences of like responsibilities and like interacting with the world and the world interacting with me. But I definitely like, and I mean, I guess in like a simpler answer, probably just like what I always try to do is lean into the things that make me happy, whether that's people or hobbies or music or shows or whatever it is. Like I think that has always been a very easy way to figure out who I am, and like is when I'm around things and doing things that either make me feel happy or make me feel calm. And I think, yeah.
Okay. But for the rest of you, Nikia?
I would say like the question that you asked before was like, how healthy do you think it is, like, to go to have this, you know, cliff and to be moving into this stage of life? I think it depends on how many, like, safety nets you have. And I would say I'm pretty lucky in that regard. Like, I have, like, I'm very lucky and very blessed to have, like, the parents that I have, the, you know, and the opportunities that I have. And I think this process would be a lot more stressful if I did not have that. Because I think I would have a lot less choices for what I can and can't do. So, you know, it's also connected to what you were asking about, like, the freedom and, like, having the freedom to figure out who you are and stuff. The thing that I was really excited about, like, high school, was getting to pick my classes. That means I have more control over my life, too. And in college, that is, like, doubled. Like, I have almost full control over who I am going to interact with in my daily life. That's a lot of power. And the thing I'm most excited about as far as, like, figuring out myself is, like, building community. It's like, who am I gonna, like, because the people in college, these are the people that oftentimes you know for a long time. So, like, I'm really excited about being able to choose who I'm going to be around, who I'm going to associate with, who I'm going to have fun with in college. And I think as for figuring out myself, I'll have a lot more freedom with even just like the way that I dress, what I do for a living. I'll have a lot of freedom with that. And I think it's great. I think those two things are great because with community you get so much good advice, especially from, you know, the older people in your community. I've been connecting with this, like, professor named Miss Tori, who knew my cousin who also went to A&T. She's been really great, and you get so much good advice from people, and it's like, yeah, I think that's. Wait, what was the question again?
The question is, like, and you kind of answered it, which is really like, what are you, what's going to help you to find your container, your voice?
Yeah.
And it sounds like the people around you really are going to help to make that possible for you.
Yeah. I like, you know, I am an introvert, so I'll need some time alone. But, you know, like, I think it'd be great for me to find, you know, other introverted people who like the same things I do, which is why I think it's great that my roommate and I have so much in common. We've been texting. And I think that is how I'm going to determine who I am and who I want to be. Yeah.
Okay. So, anybody else before I ask the
Yeah.
final question?
I really think this is a really good question. I like the analogy of, like, your container. What are you using to fill yourself? And I feel like for me, one thing that's huge is my faith. Like, relying on my faith and the people that are in that community to kind of build me up as well. And then just kind of letting life fill me in a way that's different. Like, experiencing new things. Traveling and, like, not being afraid to try something for the simple fact of trying it. Like, one thing that I really struggle with in my daily life is finding motivation to do things. I find it really difficult to do anything if I don't have a reason why. And I feel like I'm getting to the point where my why is less, like, I'm less dependent on my why to do things. Or my why is more like, because you can, like, and that's it. And that's really cool. To fill my container, I think I'm getting to a point where I have a picture of who I want to be, where I want my life.